And welcome back to the Coder's Legacy channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Tkinter configure option. Okay, so it's a pretty interesting option. It's a pretty interesting function that we have available to us that we can use on Tkinter widgets. Okay, so it's used to basically configure the options and parameters. Okay, those options and parameters that you pass into your widgets when you're creating them. Okay, like for example, if I create a button over here. Okay, I'll call it my button. Okay, tk.button, pass in self.frame as a parent, and then we have parameters like the text. Okay, this is an option. Okay, this is something that we can pass in values to, and then the button will be created accordingly. Okay, for example, if I type click me here. Okay, and then there's other options like command, okay, which is a very important option for the button. Okay, we link up a function to this, and then there's also other stuff like font and a whole bunch of different options. Okay, so the point is that the question may arise at some point that can I change these options after I've created the widget? Because you've set the text option over here, right? So what if you want to change the text on the button later? Okay, and this is something that's very common with labels. Okay, if I create a label over here, tk.label, okay, self.frame, text is equal to hello world. Okay, now with labels, they display some text. Okay, but you may want to change this later on. Okay, you may want to display a different message. Okay, or you're just changing something, or maybe you want to cycle through some text or whatever. Okay, but the point is you are wondering how to change the options. Okay, how to change these values after you've created the widget. And that's where the configure option, the configure function, that's where it comes in. Okay, so we'll take a look at that, how to do it. It's pretty simple, and I'll also try to answer as many questions that I've seen online that people ask about the configure function and how it works and alternative options and some other uses of it. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin right away. So I've already created a button here and a label. Okay, so we'll just use these two. Okay, okay, so let's create a function. Okay, I'll click on the button, which will trigger the function, which will trigger the configure function. Okay, and then we'll see how all of this really works. Okay, so I'll create a function called I don't know, call, or actually let's just call it do something. Okay, and over here I'm gonna write well, let's just leave this empty for now. I'm gonna go ahead here and pack in my label and button. Okay, pad x is equal to 5, pad y is equal to 10. Okay, and just copy the same thing down here for our button. Okay, and I just want to run this once before we actually begin. Okay, that's just a bad habit of mine. I usually use classes for this. So I wrote self.frame, okay, and I do, by the way, recommend the object-oriented approach for any proper project. Okay, so here's our window. Okay, let's just resize that a bit. Okay, so here's our window, and here's the button. Okay, currently clicking the button will do nothing. The goal is that I want to change the text on this label when I click this button. Okay, so this is really simple. I'm going to come here and say mylabel.config. Okay, and I'll which option I want to fix, which option I want to change or configure is going to be text is equal to goodbye world. Okay, now let's run this, and let me try clicking on it. Okay, it didn't change. Why not? Of course, because I never attached the function, do something to our button. So let's just fix that. Okay, and no parentheses. Okay, so there we go. Our text just changed when I click the button. Okay, so pretty interesting, right? This is how you change things. Okay, it's just a single one-line code. Okay, and this goes for anything, by the way. So let's just expand on this first a bit. And by the way, you may see some people doing configure like this. Okay, and it's the exact same thing. Okay, it's just an alternative thing. Okay, it's just the same name. Okay, different name, same function. Okay, so you can use whichever you find easier. Okay, config is just short, and it's a more abbreviated version, so people tend to use it more. Okay, so other than this, let's take a look at some other options that we can change. And by the way, we can change all options. There isn't any restriction on which option we can and can't change. Okay, also I doubt you could change this parameter, by the way. Okay, so just focus on changing stuff like the color, for instance. How about the background? Okay, bg is equal to red. Okay, and over here I'll say bg is equal to blue. Okay, so if I run this, it's currently red, and if I click on that, it turns blue. Okay, so yeah, and let's just go ahead and try changing the button as well. My button.config text is equal to something like I have been clicked. Okay, and there you go, the button also changes. Okay, so this is it. This is literally it. This is how you change this is how you configure options in Tkinter. So one more thing that I want to discuss here very briefly is you may wonder, what kind of options can I change? Okay, or more specifically, you may wonder what options are there for me to change. Okay, now you can go online and just look at the widget and take a look at all of its options. Okay, you can do that. Otherwise, there's another interesting way of doing things. You can go here and let me just comment this stuff out. Okay, and do print my label. Okay, and by the way, be a little careful, okay, because configure will be slightly unique for each widget. Some widgets may have, for example, a Y scroll command option for scrolling, but not all widgets support scrolling, so not all widgets will have that option. So don't assume that every widget, all widgets share the same options. Okay, there are some unique options. So if you want to take a look at all these options, okay, you can do this. Just write my label, or whatever widget .config without any parameters and run this, and you'll get a list of all options. Okay, these are all the options available. Okay, now this looks like a real mess right now, and don't worry, I'll help sort this out, but just try and understand what's going on here. Here's our active background option. Here's our here's our active foreground option. Here's our anchor option. Here's the background option. Here's the BG option. Okay, here's the border width option, and so on. This is basically a dictionary, which you can recognize by the curly brackets over here, and this is the key, and this tuple is the value. Okay, and let me just show you the text option over here. Yeah, till here. Okay, this is the key. Okay, and this is the value. You can notice the value that we gave it over here. So this is another use. Okay, we can use this method to actually find out what the current values are, which is pretty cool. Now let me show you something. I'm going to do mylabel.config, and since this is a dictionary, I can just do this. Okay, and watch what happens. There you go. I just printed out the I used the text key to basically print out its value. Okay, you can look more into Python dictionaries if you want to. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested. But basically, this is how we can retrieve a specific tuple. And if you want to go even further, I guess what we could do is I haven't tried this before, so I hope it works. And yeah, there you go. I noticed that the fourth index, okay, or the fifth value in the tuple was the value of that option. Okay, so if I simply follow this format, I could print out the current value for any option. So yeah, I think we've discussed quite a bit over here. I think we've explained how to use config, okay, how to use config in other ways as well, just to print out all of its options, or to locate a specific option, or to locate a specific value, like the current value for an option. Okay, so I think we've discussed quite a few things, and I hope you guys completely understand the configure option in Tkinter and how it works. Okay, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to subscribe and leave some feedback, leave a like, okay, leave some comments. Okay, otherwise I guess I'll see you guys in some other series or some other Tkinter video later.